How you guys doing this evening? Good. So, you guys are pretty good? I'm not going to use the microphone. Okay. So, the title of my talk is, What's the Why and How to Success? So, when I look in the room and I think about, all the young minds we have here, I was once in this position. I was, part of this program, and some great mentors, Dr. John, Dr. Perkins, Dr. Perales, helped me, through the process. So what I really want to do is I want to take a step back and look through 6 or 7 key rules that kind of helped me get where I am today, kind of my success story. Now this is tailored to me, my own individual personal success. However, to understand that success, I kind of want to take you through my thought process. So to give you a little bit about me, my educational background, I went to Prairie View University, my electrical engineering degree. From there, I ran track. I was a cross-country runner as well as an 800 collegiate runner. I attended here, University of Nebraska, Lincoln, graduated 2010 with a degree in industrial management systems. Went on to the University of University of Texas, Arlington, under the direction of Dr. Eric Jones, to pursue my doctorate in industrial engineering, production and manufacturing systems. Currently completed my MBA from Washington State in marketing, and I'll get into why I did that in a little bit. Again, these are some of the things that I've accomplished up to this point. I'm also a NASA Harry Jenkins Fellow, so I had some opportunity to work with NASA. NASA paid for my doctorate degree. It was a very, very unique experience, and I can answer that as well if you guys have any questions. As well as a African Peace Loan minority certificate. You guys familiar with African Peace Loan? I heard the acronym. Or that name? Okay. And back in 2008, 2009, I did some research with Dr. Rodgers and Dr. Jones, and they awarded me the Mid-American Transportation Doctoral Fellowship of the Year. Again, so this is what we do in industry. This is what we call a mini-me. It's a snapshot of kind of, you and what you do, what makes you up. I spent some time in Belgium when I first joined Mars Food. They sent me over to Europe. I lived in Belgium for 6 months. And my story here is geared to how did I cope with that. So my 7 rules are how did I deal with my time in Europe. Be by myself. I'll go there by myself alone. Culture change. I don't speak Dutch. No, I don't speak Dutch. I spoke survival Dutch. But I had to believe in myself, which kind of matriculated in other areas of my personal growth in life. So again, a couple things about me. I kind of went through that. So what I enjoy doing, my studying and working. I love working out. I love reading non-related STEM books. Me and Dr. Jones have a reading contest who can read the most non-related engineering books. And he's currently reading. I do look up the word for the day every day. And the word of the day is euphonium, which means a funeral song. So I try to use that I try to use the word of the day every day. That's my one good habit for myself. Do's and don'ts. So, do always challenge the norm. Do always push others and yourself. You have to do that. You have to be able to push yourself. You have to be able to push others. And don't have any regrets, because even in bad situations, you learn something good. Let's get started. So, rule number 1, trust yourself. Okay? So, what do I mean by trusting yourself? So, a lot of you guys here are at the undergraduate level. You have dreams and ambitions of going to pursue your higher education. Some of you may want to go be doctors. Some of you may want to be lawyers. Some of you may want to be entrepreneurs. I'm not sure. But we all have dreams, right? And goals. So the first thing to that is trusting yourself. And the reason this is important because this is the foundation of all the other principles I want to talk about today. When you believe in your dream, you have to believe in your dreams when no one else believes in them except you. That's key number 1, because you have to control where you want to go in your life. Only you. You control. And a great quote from William Shakespeare is, we know where we are, but we do not know where we can be. So we know where we are today, but if you continue to progress and do what you want to do as far as learning and developing yourself, the sky's the limit. And I learned that here, and it started here for me at University of Nebraska. Okay? So always trust yourself. Rule number 1, trust yourself. Rule number 2, break some rules. Dr. Jones and Dr. Perkins used to always get on me about this. I used to always try to keep everything in in a textbook form. And sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you have to think outside the book, right? Research requires you to think outside the box. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Jones and Dr. Perkins on RFID research. We were trying to put sensors inside of the body, so in vivo applications inside of the body. And I would try to go to books and books and books and books, and Dr. Jones would always tell me, the solution that we're looking for is not in the book. That's why it's research. We're trying to be innovative. So you have to find ways to, you have to break some rules. I mean, you can't rely on books to look for all the answers. Some of the answers are not there, okay? Jimmy D also has a great quote that I like here. Yeah, and by the way, every slide for me has a quote. So you'll see as we go through all my slides have quotes. I cannot change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to reach my final destination. And what this really saying is, you know, you're gonna come across some things in your journey from a personal standpoint, a growth standpoint, that is gonna be difficult to overcome. And that's when you have to really, really persevere. For me, prime example, you know, I'm just gonna share this with you guys. How many of you guys are familiar with the GRE, the LSAT, GMAT? I took that test 4 times. Took that test 4 times. And that's my own personal story that I want to share with you guys. But I want you to understand that it's not always the fastest nor the strongest who win. You have to be able to persevere. So going back to rule number 1, which is what? Trust yourself. Trust yourself. You have to trust yourself. And if I'm sweating, I'm not nervous, it's hot. I'm just saying, I'm not nervous, I'm just hot. So, rule number 1, trust yourself. Okay, rule number 2, break some rules. Remember those 2 as we go along. Rule number 3, don't be afraid to fail. Oh man, this kind of relates to rule 1 and 2. You cannot be afraid to fail. You have to have the courage to act despite the fear. A great example of this for me is when I completed my dissertation. I had a statistics professor from Georgia Tech, Dr. Victoria Chin, and I wasn't great in statistics. A long shot. My background was in electrical engineering. So going from electrical engineering to industrial engineering was, in my mind, 2 completely different areas of engineering science. So we took the comprehensive exam, and I barely missed the statistics piece. And I had to, fortunately, I didn't have to come back and retake the class. She let me continue with my DOE project that I was working on, and she kind of let that subside for my requirements. So I say that to say you have to have the courage to act despite the fear. Some things just gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna be tough. There's no way around it. But you have to be able to find within yourself, control the situation, control your emotions, and have the utmost confidence in what you do and why you're here. That's very important. So when you come to obstacles, you have to understand why you're doing what you do. Why are you doing it? Okay. Why are you pursuing this bachelor's degree? Why do you want a master's degree? Why do you want a PhD? Why? You have to be able to answer. So one of the guys I mentor asked me one day, and I put it here, he asked me, what if I fail? And I found this quote that says, what if I fail? Oh my darling, what if you fly? You don't know what's going to happen if you stick through. You may get through, but you have to be able to stick through. And I challenge you, there's been times at Prairie View University where I'm giving you some of my personal failures because I want you to be able to use those in your own personal experience because it builds humility. You have to be able to build humility in all this, and that sometimes can be difficult. But I had a professor at Prairie View University, Dr. Matthew Sadaku. I was graduating 2009, and make a long story short, I passed the class with Barry, and he pulled me in, and he shared this with me, quote at the bottom. Perseverance is failing 19 times and succeeding on 20th, I never forget. As I told you, I ran collegiate track. I was a long cross-country runner, 12 miles a day, and all we could do was persevere. You know how your body goes through different cycles? You get tired, then you get energy again, you get tired again. That's what we went through. So persevere. You have to be able to, okay? Rule number 4, ignore the naysayers. How many people, have been in situations where, you had a dream or you shared your dream with someone and so you can't do it. There's no way you can do it. Right? So that's, you have to be able to embrace it because it's not for them to see. They shouldn't, if they don't see your dream, that's okay. It's your dream. Okay? Only person that needs to confirm your dream is you. Now, what you can do in the process is get good people in your corner. I mean, we have great faculty members here. I mean, great leaders. You guys come from great institutions. A lot of great minds here. So the key to all of this is to get someone in your corner who supports you, who can nourish your thought process, and help you get to where you want to get to in life. I didn't get to where I am without the help of everybody in this room. I'm just going to be completely honest with you and my family. You know, I'm from Dallas, Texas. You know, I had dreams, aspirations to, you know, inspirations to do greater things. I found the right people, and they helped me get to where I want to get to in life. The key to this is to never stop learning. Okay, you can never stop learning. And I've committed myself to continuous learning in life, and that's what I challenge all of you guys to do. You know, some people say, you know, I got my bachelor's degree, I want to go work. That's fine. Okay? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But don't forget to continue to grow in some aspect of your life. Because to not grow is to remain the same. Okay. Another quote I have here is, don't ever doubt yourself or waste a second of your life. It's too short and you're too special. Everyone in this room is here for a reason. You guys are part of a very prestigious program, in my opinion. And I believe that you all was chosen to come here to learn about research, to meet great faculty mentors, and to build and collab with people like myself and your speakers, as well as other people from other institutions. So take advantage of that. That's an opportunity that you do not want to waste. Rule number 5, embrace hard work. Embrace hard work. You have to be willing to work hard to get where you want to in life. Whatever it is you want to do. I don't know what you want to do. I know what I want to do, but what do you want to do? You have to protect it. Okay? The reason I say that is because my advisor, Dr. Jones, we argue, not now, but we argue. He said, Kevin, why do you want to pursue the MBA? Why are you pursuing it? You got a doctor, why are you going back to school to get an MBA? Like school. And I told Dr. Jones, so that's about having ambitions of owning my own engineering consulting firm once I clear my PE license. He said, well, you can do that without them. And in some cases, he is correct. But for me, it was a personal growth for me to see if I could do it. If I could meet the challenge of going and complete my PhD, going back and getting an MBA. And what that's doing for me is it's showing me how I can connect the two. So being a hybrid between the hard engineering sciences and the marketing, or the selling of a product. In my line of work, I make rice, I produce rice currently. We make it, but also I want to know how to sell it and maximize my sales. So I'm working with the sales team and the marketing team on how to do that. But when I'm getting these meetings and we talk about market segmentation and target market analysis, I have to be able to understand what that means. Or if we start talking about statistics or regression, I can relate to that as well. So one of the quotes that I have here is when I completed my doctorate degree, me and Dr. Jones talked about this, but this is what I came up with. When adversity comes, faith and perseverance answer. So there's been some trying times, as far as not doing my work. But it made me a better person who I am today. And I'm devoting myself to continuous learning, continuous growth. And I advise you guys to do the same. And the last rule, give something back. So when I say give something back, before I go into detail, what do you guys think that means? When I say give something back, what does that mean to you?
Uplift.
Okay. What else? Okay. What else?
I was saying uplift.
Uplift. Lift as you climb. Yeah. So there are many different ways to give something back, right? So you guys are sitting in this room. I was once in the same seat. So what am I doing today? I'm trying to give something back. So always remember where you started. Don't forget where you're trying to go. Never forget where you came from. That's the most important thing. So I look at this. Remember, you were once a person that needed counsel. You guys need counsel. I was once a person. How do I get to graduate school? What's the process? You guys heard a great speaker at lunch. She went through the ins and outs of how to get into graduate school, what networks you need to develop, and how to move that needle moving forward. That's very, very important. I hope you guys took great notes. So pay it forward in all that you do, and I guarantee you will never regret what you've done for yourself as well as others. And I challenge you to be a better person tomorrow than you were today. Thanks for your time.
Looking for cues.
Thank you.
Okay, so while they're setting that, I'll go ahead and introduce our next speaker. It's Mr. Quinton Rodgers. He's an assistant engineer with the city of Dallas and the streets with the city. Okay, let's start again. He's an assistant engineer with the city of Dallas in the streets division in transportation.
It's not on the street.
How's everybody? Not on the street. How's everybody doing out there?
All right.
I feel like I know y'all. I've been hanging out with y'all since Wednesday. So it's very rare I get to do a presentation and speak with everybody the week before. So it's kind of like I'm talking to some friends. So I'm going to give you guys my perspective, my journey of how I got to where I am now. And I'm going to give you guys like a couple of important tools that I've used on my way to where I am now. And also, I'm just going to give you guys some advice. Right? So, voices from the field. And from the field is really from the field for me because in my job right now, I deal with all the signal systems out here, the lights, progression, traffic, things like that. So when something goes wrong, I'm out in the field. And this is what's going right, I'm back at my desk doing other stuff. So it's really important from the field. All right. So this is going to be all over the outline. Like I said, I'm going to go through an introduction of myself. Some of you already know this. Then I'm going to go a little bit over my journey, then the important tools, and then my advice. This picture right here, I'll never delete it. This is like my first semester in grad school. This is like what I was looking at all the time. See my toes? But I was always, that's in my living room. I believe some of the professors said there's a lot of reading in grad school and writing. They're not lying. There's reading because you have to be able to comprehend what you read and then put it down, show how to make it work. So a lot of comprehension in grad school. So yeah, that was my life for the first semester. And it was snowing real bad, and I wasn't used to it. So introduction. Of course, my name is Quinton Rodgers. I graduated from Prairie View A&M University in December 2009 with my bachelor's in civil and environmental engineering under the direction of Dr. Judy A. Perkins. Then I graduated from the University of West Lincoln here in the summer of 2013 under the direction of Dr. Larry Riley. I'm a MATC scholar. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe 2010 was the first time we did the MATC program. So that makes me an OG. Because where you guys start working now, and I was like the first one here, so I guess I'm most successful with the MATC program. So I was a MATC scholar, can always be one, that's how I get back. So now I'm a City of Dallas assistant engineer. This picture was taken in 2013, which was the previous MATC scholar conference. That guy to the left is Maurice. That's me in the middle, and the other one's a colleague of mine named Robert Powell, all Prairie View A&M graduates. High school. Went to a college preparatory school, that's me in 2004. Had braids, a little slimmer. But I was really, really into math. And I had some advisors in high school that said maybe you should look into engineering. So this is where my journey started with math. I love numbers, I love money, I added up. So I did it with the engineering world. So next point in my journey, PVAMD. Got some pamphlets in here. Okay. I started with the STEM program. Right when I graduated from high school, I I went to Prairie View immediately. Like, I didn't have a summer. I went there for a STEM program, but I did that because I got scholarship money, and I also was able to take 11 hours worth of my courses. So once I started in the fall, I was already 11 hours ahead. I did some internships while I was at Prairie View. I did Harris County Flood Control District. There's a 2 next to that because I did one in the summer and they liked me so much they brought me back again. So I did 2 of those there. Then I did a partnering internship between Prairie View and UNL with Dr. Eric Jones and his RFID lab. RFID stands for radio frequency identification, in case you guys didn't know. And he worked this pretty hard. But I'm grateful for it.
Perkins is with me, man. You're not fault.
I learned so much here, and I'll be able to show you guys later how much, everything you learn might come back around, so you might pay attention to it. I was able to take the information I learned here at UNL and then take it back to PV and then create an RFID lab there. We assessing stuff and teaching younger students stuff. I learned RFID really good. That is, the picture on the left is a picture from my first internship. I'm the one that's on the left. That's the team. So, after PV, of course, I got a research assistantship. Blessing. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. The out-of-state fees is not, So, I got a research assistantship. Things I did during my assistantship was I did some analyzing for driver behaviors, what they did at stoplights, stop bars, things like that. Some Excel stat statistical work. That was tough. Everybody probably will take some research methods for probability and statistics, so try to stay with your math because it'll come back, especially for engineering. Then I also was able to be one of the startup guys for a club called Rose Girls and Race Cars that's still going on here today, down at Color Middle School down the road where we teach middle school kids STEM things so they can be into the math and maybe go into engineering early. And we was teaching them some stuff with GIS around the campus, trying to find stuff. And that's my colleague Scott Sorensen. We were building something and I thought it was kickball. So I had a lot of fun here. My journey, my professional career. Once I graduated from UNL, I did a little summer gig in Houston for a consulting firm, being an associate engineer, civil engineering firm. I got to see the different sides of being a consultant. This is my personal story, I like where I am at now. Now I work for the government, for the city of Dallas. It's 2 different worlds. I was working for somebody who was trying to get contracts. Now I'm working for somebody who gives out the contracts. So I like where I'm at now. I'm so happy. This is my first day of work. I know I'm going, but that's my first day of work picture. I'm just happy and grateful. So, important tools. Motivation and dedication. These 2 go hand in hand. If you want to be where you want to be, you got to be motivated. Because nobody's going to do it for you. You got to be the one to get up in the morning and take yourself to class. When I was in Nebraska, you guys know they never cancel class.
Because of snow? Or rain?
So I was motivated. Because you can do your work. Grad school, like that's fail. That's lost right there. So I had to be motivated. Therefore, I had to be dedicated. I had to be dedicated to what I want to. If I was in grad school and then I didn't make it work, I was going back home with my parents. And no, that's not good. So, motivation, dedication. I have a little story about my next bullet point, initiate. Where I am today, I believe is because of one conversation. Just one. I initiated. I was at Harris County Flood Control. I did my second internship, and I was like, this job is really easy. And I think I could have did it out of high school. I want more. I saw Dr. Perkins walking across the parking lot. I said, hey, Doc, what are you doing this summer? What's going on? I want to work. I want an internship. What do you got going? Boom, that answer. She said, I have RFID going right now. I need you to go get smart on this. That's her phrase. Go get smart. So she gave me a packet, RFID. I wrote up about it. I told her I understood it. I liked it. From that point on, I got an internship with Dr. Jones. I brought it back to PD. I got paid for it, and I got a full ride to UNL. So just one conversation. You guys got to initiate that. We have all these smart minds around us, all this money around us. You got to go out there and get it. If they don't know, how will they know? They're not minding it. So. The last one is support. Now, I think on Wednesday, one of the doctors asked, who's doing this alone? And only like one person raised their hand and said, what do you mean? I believe everybody needs a support system. If it's not family, it can be friends, it can be a lady, the guy, it can be the Lord, the religion, whatever you have, I think you need support somewhere. For me, my support was my family. That's my beautiful family right there. My mom, my dad, and my sister. That's my little sister. They were just so supportive while I was in grad school. Even if they don't understand what you're going through, just to have somebody in the other mindset, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You got to keep it just to keep going. Just keep going. So, have a support system. This next slide. It's a picture. But it's like one of the most important things I think I needed to get to where I'm expecting. But if we have a section on mentors, choosing one, I have latch on because once you find that mentor, you better latch on. Don't let it go because they're going to take you places, especially if they care about you, they're going to make sure that you're taken care of. So when I found Dr. Perkins and she took me where I needed to be, I ain't never let her go. That's how Dr. Perkins all the time. I call her my auntie. So once you guys find that mentor, they're out there, latch on to them, talk to them, you know, build a relationship. Okay, at the bottom it says you will need advice, you will need direction, you will need letters of recommendation, but most importantly, you will need an honest critic. You don't need a yes man or a yes woman. Oh, it's okay. No, Dr. Perkins chopped up all my stuff. When I brought it to her, no, wrong, fix that. So I feel like she made me tough. She made me good. So you need an honest critic. You don't need somebody to, you know, smooth things. You need it real because when you get to the work world, it's going to be real. Nobody's going to hold your hand. Nobody's going to smooth out the work. So, thank you, Dr. Perkins.
You're welcome.
I think this might be the second to last. My advice to you. Now, these things right here, we can apply them to undergraduate. We can apply them to graduate school. Or we also, I want to apply them to this conference here today. I have asked questions. No regrets, no sugar for the waters, and take advantage of everything. We have all these people around us, and they're telling us about grad school. They're not here, we're getting a check, of course, but they're not here for the check. They're here to see us do better. So I'm sure if we go up to them and talk to them, they're gonna, you know, let us have everything we need. Here's what we need to. We should be passing resumes, we should be getting business cards, we should be writing emails when we get back to school. So that's what we gotta do. And most importantly, have fun. Don't look at grad school like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's hard, but I had so much fun. I have lifelong friends, lifelong connections. I feel like I can come back to Nebraska and I'll be straight. Because all my connections, I can contact around it up and just, you know, take care of me. We have a connection, we have a bond. Here's one of the phrases I look at all the time. I'm not sure if you guys can guess. It's from a rapper that I listen to. And it's about playing the game. The only difference between a winner and a loser is a winner plays until he wins. That's the big thing if you guys didn't know. This grad school stuff, undergrad school, you gotta play the game. And if you're serious about it, if you want to win the game, you gotta put your effort into it. So, and if you don't succeed the first time, just keep trying. It's bound to happen. So, that's all I got, guys. Thank you.
Mr. Rodgers, I'd like to Okay, our next speaker is Ms. Gabriella Perales, and she's a graduate research assistant here at the university. And here's, how are you written? Nebraska Transportation Center, that's where you're, okay. And then her field of study is transportation with a specialization in geometric design.
Alright, hi guys, my name is Gabriela Perales, and I'm basically going to present to you my journey as an undergrad to where I am right now as a grad student here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. So this is just an outline of basically what I'm going to talk about, research I did as an undergrad, internships I did, and what I'm currently doing as a grad student as well. So where I'm from. Originally, I was born in Mexico, in Perales, which is down here, and I moved to Perales, Texas, where I did all of my basically school. I did elementary, middle school, high school, and after I graduated high school, I decided to apply for University of, now the Rio Grande Valley, but it used to be the University of Texas Pan American, which is in Edinburgh, Texas. So while I was there, I started off by doing research. I was already a junior when I started doing research. When I first entered school, I was, in a way, I was not really taking it serious. I was just kind of like going through the flow, whatever. My basically parents' background education, they had very low education, so I was unfortunate not to really have someone to go and talk to and like about school. So I kind of also at the same time used that as my motivation to get something better for my own self. So I started doing research with one of my professors on a structural health monitoring system, and this was just to reduce failures in bridges. This is what our lab used to look like there. So this is a model of a bridge, and these sensors here measured things like temperature and strain, and are basically showing you deflections as vehicles are going across bridges. An example of this is the Arsenal Bridge, which is located in Illinois and connects to Iowa. So basically what happens is all of these sensors here are connected to this little house, and it shows you any failures that are possibly going to happen. After I did that research, which was in the year of 2012 to 2013, I interned for the Texas Department of Transportation that summer. So I was located in Encino, Texas. If any of you are familiar with South Texas, there is nothing in Encino. So I was stationed there for just that summer, and I was looking at basically pavement and how they were laying that pavement in the intersections. After I came back to school, this was in starting of 2013-2014 school year, I did research with another professor and basically on pavement performance. And this is a database by the Federal Highway Administration that anybody could access. So I was looking basically at just pavement performance close to Edinburgh, Texas, probably about 20 minutes north of that area. And basically I was looking at routing, IRI, and then I applied for another program, which was a collaboration with this university. So I got to travel here to Nebraska during the summer of 2014, and I was doing research on vehicle violations, as you can see here. Very bad. So then I just basically collected data, and yeah, watching these vehicles as they're going where they're not supposed to be. This is when I really enjoyed working here, and I decided I wanted to come to grad school at this university. I love the program. After that summer, I still had one more semester to go, so I went back to school and I did more research, and this was basically a collaboration with the Illinois Center for Transportation, and I just did basically like a statistical analysis with aggregates. And this is just an example of what I did. And that later turned into a publication this year, actually. So for my extracurricular activities that I was in when I was an undergrad, I was in a lot of these associations. I did conferences, basically kind of trying to develop my social skills, networking, presenting. I used to hate presenting in public. Absolutely hated it. I would fear it. But now I kind of like to put myself in the position because it's something that you are going to have to do once you start working or when you're in grad school as well. So why pursue a master's? For starters, intellectual growth. As an undergrad, I only took one transportation course. Now, as a grad student, I have broadened my knowledge. I learned so much more than I have previously learned. I have also learned how to use different softwares that unfortunately I didn't get to use as an undergrad. And some of these softwares are things that companies look for whenever they want to hire you. All that links into job opportunities. So you know some softwares that jobs are looking for, like, hey, I'll hire you. Free education, you can get your research assistantship that Quinton referred to, and yeah, out-of-state tuition is expensive. Like I said, detailed coursework, you get to learn more, and you'll probably have a higher starting salary when you start working. So these are just some of the achievements I have done so far. I mentored the next year's UTCRS students, which were this summer. When I started, I was the first generation to come here. So these students were second generation, and I kind of just showed them the ins and outs, what they need to do, and how to go about their research. I was fortunate enough to meet Secretary of Transportation, Anthony Fox. I also presented in a conference with IHEAP, and this was in Pittsburgh. I attended an ARIMA conference, which is in Minneapolis. So another thing about grad school, you travel, which is nice. You go to different states, conferences. And I am currently working on my thesis, which has to do with calculating the maximum friction on vehicles. And I was awarded Student of the Year from my old transportation center back in Edinburgh. So this is my contact information. If any of you want to reach me on how to get to grad school, how you want to apply here, or anything like that, you're more than welcome to email me, call me, whatever.